How are there already people in here? I didn't even click go. I didn't even click go live. What the? I don't know what you guys are doing. You got some weird shit going on. That's fucked up. How is it? It says 20 seconds. How is anyone already chatting? How is it up on my page? I hadn't gone live. Oh, it was like queuing? It does that? Shit, I didn't know that. Fuck. I'm gonna ruin the fucking surprise. What's up? Yeah, it was time. She was not down anymore. Yo. Haven't been able to catch the last few. Oh, good. You can catch this one. I said like 3 things off the top I was gonna get. YouTube's just doing its own inconsistent or automated. That's the deal. I'm convinced that's the only reason I even got streaming approved on my account. Because I already had this account and then they did whatever COVID bullshit. And now like anyone can fucking go live. I don't know. It's set around broadcasting 420. What? Anyway, before we get into 1985, we're talking about. So we've anyway. There's a bunch of things that happen that are like general thematic things that are important to get out of the way. Home taping is killing music. We never talked about home taping is killing music, so this is like a huge deal. There was like a t-shirt, rock stars were like bitching about it. It was the same thing as fucking Napster. Exactly the same scenario. Okay, this really ramped up in the early 80s bad, to the point where I think you've probably all heard of it said the broadcast started around 420 and waiting on your, I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't have like fucking hours of just dumb cue in front of it. Anyway, tapes had been around forever. They've been around since for a long time. Cassette tapes. I wrote a huge article about this. And well, it's not about this specifically. It's about the mini disc. But in the mini disc article that I wrote, I talked about how, the cassette was this huge issue with piracy, and there was this big intellectual property battle, which Philips basically lost, and they ended up having to like give away the audio cassette as a format, just give it away, because Sony had gone around them and totally cornered the market on portable audio cassettes with the Walkman. So because they didn't have access to that market, they ended up just giving away the audio cassette as a format. And they were so pissed about it that it's a long story. Anyway, look for Requiem for the Mini Disc. It's an article I wrote a long time ago. There was a it's on Medium, and I think I copied it over to the Substack. Look for the Substack version. But anyway, the history of the audio cassette really, there's such a depression in the 2 dominant pop culture Western societies in England and America in the late 70s and early 80s. They started marketing it. Maxell, the guy in the chair with the fan blowing him away, right? Maxell starts this. In 83, that ad goes over to England, and Peter Murphy from Bauhaus is the face of the Maxell like chair ad in 83. And so this whole thing of like disposable income and blank tapes and all that, well, that's all predicated on your parents having enough money to buy a fucking double cassette deck. And double cassette decks were like a big, copyright concern. It took a long time for them to get to the market, and they totally sucked. The generational quality of the dubs early on, these are like some of the worst fucking tapes ever made. I mean, they're wicked bad, but the generational quality of dubs was severely impacted by the quality of the heads, the record heads. And so, you eventually start getting into crazy shit like HK Sevens, which is an American Psycho. We talked about this on the Chord. And then later on it gets nuts with NAD and Proton. And of course you have Nakamichi with the Dragon. The double cassette market and dubbing really starts to blow up, and it doesn't, like I said, you need disposable income, you need the recovery, the economic recovery, which really starts earlier in England, frankly, for this to become like a thing. And so now the kids have a house where there's a double tape deck, and they can dub their friends a copy of something, and then all of a sudden knowledge around and the hysteria around pop celebrity culture starts to really get frothy. And we've talked about, how up to this point in 85, everything's kind of almost a full year staggered. Culture Club, Human League, before it hops the pond to America. But what's happened during these first 5 years of the 80s, or 4 really, record labels and A&R people are scouting all of these obscure bands. Seymour Stein, Sire Records, goes over to England and is like, Depeche Mode, The Cure, Echo and the Bunnymen. He signs every fucking band in England to Sire in the US in 82, I think it is. And so eventually, being a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, they're like, dude, you can't have all of these bands. And in 84, they're like, you got to choose between Depeche Mode and The Cure. He chooses Depeche Mode. Doesn't work out that bad. But imagine if they'd kept both, right? And yeah, they did it with A&M. There's a ton, A&M had to deal with IRS, and so that affects REM and obviously the police. So yeah, I mean, it's just like the A&R people are like, well, this is the new thing, and these people will work with us. These are bands who will work with us. It's not like the Sex Pistols are going to come in here and take a shit on the carpet. This is Boy George, okay? Boy George wants to be super fucking famous. This is the videotape I mentioned in both of the last two vids. This came out in 84. It's so good because they're still together and fun, and I think they only play... Yeah, you get, I think you get 12 songs here, and 2 of them are really bad encore. But yeah, man, fuck, it's so funny. John Moss is just like playing fucking rototoms or whatever. Syndromes, but it's great. It's so good. I mean, you can probably get this for $3 on eBay. Who gives a shit? No one's going back to look for this stuff. I ripped it. If you're here from the Cord, it's ripped and it's on the Dropbox for the Cord. But it is funny because, in as much as, so then this is another thing, the format problem. This is when formatting starts to take off, and there's like 8 different versions of shit. And it's like, well, let's get out a gatefold. And, the Smiths obviously make a joke about this with Rough Trade, repackage, resell, blah, blah, blah. The idea of the special badge, and the Police had the, 3 7-inches of the, I think it's Message in a Bottle, is it? It was pretty early with the Police. Miles Copeland was he didn't give a shit. He was a carny. But yeah, the whole format bullshit, Culture Club were totally guilty of it. Everyone was. This is how you get the fan base, you get the fan base up to like 500,000, and you get them to buy the album twice. You get them to buy the single 3 times. And now all of a sudden you're really getting some serious fucking income. And so this whole thing, the idea of Culture Club, CBS, Fox even releasing a public commercial VHS tape in 84 is crazy fucking early. But it becomes an avalanche of this shit. And when we get into 86 and 87, you're going to see, The Cure, DM, Depeche Mode, everybody's got videotapes coming out. REM even is super early in their career. They're only 4 years or so into their career when they release Succumbs, which is like fucking... just total fucking art wank. It's just mocking the concept of a video, and yet this is such a market that they release it as a fucking VHS home video. Oh, it's absurd, man. But 1985, funnily enough, it starts off with kind of a weird moment that reflects the whole... Like I talked in the last video about how I think it's pointless to go down minutia and talk about like the most obscure thing that happened, because everybody has just gone over and over this shit. But in January, what day? January 5th, 1985, the Gila Monster Jamboree happens. Flipside Magazine rents a video camera setup, and they go out, and it's essentially like a Burning Man type thing. They go out in the desert. And what's his name? Amok Press's Stuart Sweezy organizes this gig. It's SciComm, Red Cross, Sonic Youth, and the Meat Puppets headlined. And you can see this on YouTube. Go anytime you want. And Sonic Youth's performance is actually fucking awesome. But it's before what's his face joins on drums. It's Bob Burt was drumming at that time. Steve Shelley, sorry. And Bob Burt he's got a bigger double chin than I do. Look at that shit. Man, I feel better about the shaving thing. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you can talk about all this stuff, but this is really like Bad Moon Rising, Lydia Lunch, this, Meat Puppets 2, This is when like America sort of, I mean, the Minutemen get three-way tie for last out. I mean, Dead Milkmen come out at this time, so you get Duh Funny Skate Punk, The Freeze, fuck, SOD. I mean, there's so much shit that starts to happen. The American indie sort of underground punk thing starts to really get some roots. And so, you know, yeah, go explore it if you're interested in it. But as I said, I don't think, I'm not saying it's not worth talking about. I'm just saying it was so diffuse. It was so isolated. It's like, you know, I said this as a joke in a podcast I did. I think it was one of the ones with Sean Collins about the 90s. And it'll come up again when you know, I talk about the 90s if I get to that point. Which is that, you know, it's the same 300 people at every show for like 5 years. It's just not, it's really stupid to try and suggest that there's a tone or a sense of the 80s that can be correlated with, say, Fugazi until like 88 or 89. Like Minor Threat doesn't penetrate anything. Like, yeah, there's punk scenes and there were, you know, yeah, there's those few hundred hipsters and punks and whatever that are doing their thing, and there's the college kids and all that, and that's a real market and everything, but it's a social network. I said this about Calvin Johnson and K Records. Independent pop music is the original social network. And, you know, by this point, it's been invaded by commercial A&R. And I said in a previous, I don't know if it was 84 or 85, this is when the notion of selling out becomes a real choice in the mid 80s. Because this is the year when, out of almost nowhere, The Cure appear on the American Hot 100. In Between Days goes to number 99. Despite the fact that like literally no fucking FM radio station would play it. It's 100% based on late night MTV exposure. And this is when, you know, labels start looking at like, where are we going to get catalog talent? Where am I going to get a Fleetwood Mac I can base the next 7 years of my label on? Well, Fleetwood Mac took fucking years to get off the ground. So I got to start making some bets, because I'm not going to get Howard Jones out of the fucking gate. I'm not going to get the Eurythmics every time out and have 3 fucking top 10 singles on the first record. I'm going to get like 15, you know, I don't even know what, throw out any, you know, generic joke. I'm going to, you know, it's just, it's a ratio game. And you get, you know, and that's the whole thing. You get the Phil Collinses of the world to offset that exploratory A&R effort. You have, you know, Def Leppard. Def Leppard pays for your whole label. Michael Jackson pays for your whole label. And so there's enough money coming in that there's this 2 strains of thought. And one is like, we need catalog artists because labels are still making ton of money. Tentpole Tutor, labels are still making tons of money on catalog records, and that's what they start to realize they need to invest in. And that's the only reason. Oh shit, I still have Discord open. That's probably fucking up my bandwidth, man. That's the only reason that this whole thing, you know, it really like splits. And now you have real functioning tiers and investment, because it's, you know, yes, New Order starts to blow up. John Hughes starts to get movies in theaters with really, really, you know, at that time, radically outlandish soundtracks. New York is sort of just totally washed. It's Sonic Youth starting up. It's a very different scene because the money's coming back and Wall Street's starting to tick up, and you're so on the fringe in a way that like let's think about like the tourism that's a joke in American Psycho. Like in American Psycho, they're going to go to some really fucked up club, and no, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm sure there was some low lifing, but the thing is like that's way late 80s. In the mid 80s, New York is like definitely in a pretty bad valley and needs to, you know, bring itself up again. And then eventually becomes, you know, the club kids and all that shit. But as music goes, like a lot of people are dead, burned out, fucking Johnny Thunder. Like you've still got so much ash from the early 80s that's just like crumbling. And there's no real vibrant resurgence, let's say, until dance culture and again, art. And really like Keith Haring in a big way, you know, that thing comes back. So anyway, you know, those are 3 sort of big themes we didn't even get into. And and it's hard to, you know, I think it's stuff you think about later because this is all just fucking live. But you know, those are important points. Like the economic shifts really start to be felt big time in '85. You know, you've got guys driving around in London in Porsche 911s and 3 Series BMWs, and this is so new. Like there hasn't been, you know, excuse me, there hasn't been wealth signaling kind of like conspicuous consumerism at all in England for a long fucking time. And all of a sudden you start to get like if you ever read like or not read, if you ever watch what's it called? The thing with Victoria Coren's brother, where they eat weird food and shit. They have an awesome 80s episode where it's like people are starting to eat sushi and all that shit. And yeah, AIDS is becoming this hysterical fucking nightmare. Obviously, this is a big part of '85. Absolutely. And that's, I already mentioned Keith Haring. I mean, you're talking about something that's being felt in communities and being ghettoized, and massive, rampant homophobia, and you have crack cocaine coming in. I mean, it's just, this gets really bad. But anyway, let's start chart sweeping. You guys got to amp this channel up, man. I don't want to work anymore. Come on, man. Hair looks great. It doesn't. I just got out of the shower. I'm itching like crazy because I have fucking stubble all over me and my face is all pudgy and fucking, I mean, I'm overweight anyway, but man, oh my God. Yeah, Team Something About You, 100%. Like, mentioning Something About You by Level 42 is bad because I just won't, I'll go off. It's just such a fucking amazingly, it's like Promise You a Miracle with Simple Minds I talked about in another one. It's just one of those songs that's just like, it just seems like whenever everyone talks about or listens to like the top 50 singles from like an 80s year, that sheen, it's all in Something About You by Level 42. It's all in Promised You a Miracle by Simple, like, you just get all of it in one fucking 3.5 minute thing. Because there is something about you. So yeah, 85, I mentioned it's a funny contrast. You think of like the Gila Monster Jamboree out in the desert and fucking Psycom. Perry Farrell's like, this is one of the big things that gave him some rep. 85 in America, pop culture, it starts to become, I've said it in the last 2 videos, the distance between the top 10 and the top 50 is just like, it's another fucking world. And that's on big major label activity. Forget indie shit. But the big story in 85, it's really Madonna and Wham in America, because Wham's been big for a couple of years almost in England. And I mentioned the Simon Napier Bell books. You really need to fucking get those. Yeah, so I mean, it's just Born in the USA, Like a Virgin, Purple Rain. It's a lot of stuff that's hanging around. But there's 2 sort of big, I guess I don't know if I say big. I mean, there's 2 large changes. One is New Edition. New Edition does really fucking well. And yeah, it's Candy Girl and it's like young kids and it's so not scary. And so the racism is, it's like, it's a gross, but there's big fucking hits on this thing. Great songwriting. And it, what happens? You end up doing it with new kids and white kids. And that's, it's unfortunate. There's a definite racial ceiling with New Edition, despite having 100% better song in Cool It Now than NKOTB ever had, until Games, which is the most hardcore fucking rap song ever. I don't want to fucking hear about NWA, whatever. Fucking Games is fucking serious shit. Motherfucker lit a fucking hotel on fire. What's up? Yeah, exactly. Well, Candy Girl is a rewrite of ABC. So, I mean, New Edition is a new thing. Purple Rain is still just, it's ridiculous. It's on the charts. It's like, Purple Rain has got between 84 and 85. It's like almost a fucking year. Is Kate Bush really a thing with Hounds of Love? Yeah. I mean, in America, like, it's pretty collegey until you get to, I've said this before. It's my opinion, I guess, but everything I know, and from having sisters who were totally fucking like in high school at this time, Working Girl breaks Kate Bush big time. It's a little bit late, but Hounds of Love is a massive record, I guess. I'll get to the UK, I promise, Martin. We're going to get there. but yeah, so two big things sort of blow up in '85. The main thing is We Are the World, USA for Africa. This whole just exhausting kind of, we're so famous, we're making so much money. I mean, it's like when you're that big, you know, social responsibility. Bob Geldof is, it's just, um, it gets everybody, and it gets them before they're totally fucking gone. Like, it's not until Live Aid, I think it's Live Aid, when Boy George has like literally got coke like snowing off his nose, and Sting is so, or heroin, who knows, and Sting is standing next to him, and he's like, oh my god, dude. It was pretty bad. But he gets everybody at the peak for We Are the World, and everybody's just like, fuck it. And you know, you read the memoirs of everybody who's on this song, everybody's got like half a chapter dedicated to the recording of this, and everyone's memory is completely different. I think one of the common themes was that, I can't even remember. There's so many fucking people. I didn't prep for this. I don't even remember if he's on it. I may be getting confused with a later, like, Do They Know It's Christmas anecdote. There's some anecdote that's basically like Simon Le Bon was fucking useless and couldn't sing. And I don't know which song he was on, but anyway. So you got that, you got No Jacket Required, and you get the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. Those are all massive because you get Axel F. And much like on the back of Herbie Hancock's Rocket, which was the year before, Axel F is just like, no one will stop playing this song. I can't tell you, like, it's almost like Club Nouveau's version of Lean on Me. Like, that and Axel F were so, until you get to like the Miami Vice theme too. Yeah, and Hammer. These things were played so often, you just couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just every fucking where. God damn, they were just so, those songs were so big. And it's again, it's now we're keying on novelty. Now we're keying on new sounds and kind of, you know, shapes, production techniques. That novelty is now attracting listeners, which it really hadn't been before at all. Before, it's 100% about it's 100%, excuse me, about celebrity and shit. Le Bon is on Do They Know It's Christmas, right? So I got that fucked up. He's not on We Are the World. I think Boy George wasn't horribly fucked up for We Are the World. But he does bitch about somebody. You got to read Boy George's original first memoir. Boy, it's so good. I talked about it in another one, but he does he dishes on fucking everybody, but he has a good one there on the recording of that. Maybe it's Bruce Springsteen that was just like, oh no, he has another anecdote where he goes to a dinner party and Bruce Springsteen is there and he's such a fucking dick. He basically blanks Boy George. And yeah, I think that's the story I'm thinking of. Is We Are the World when Michael Jackson told Hall & Oates he stole the bass line for Billie Jean? I don't know. Him and Quincy Jones needed to write a lot of checks for Thriller. So yeah, Wham! Make It Big is in and out of the top 10, you know, chipping away. We talked in the last one about Sade because you know, that was such a big hit. The album Diamond Life does come up into the top 10 in the US. And then, you know, Prince sort of transitions immediately from Purple Rain into Around the World in a Day because he's got a great big fucking single on it. And so, you know, that's another sort of earthquake type record that slams in. But when we get into the summer, that's when England kind of bites back with Songs from the Big Chair, Tears for Fears. This record, again, it's like when you think about A&R working bands, like Tears for Fears, I mentioned it when the Hurting came out. Nobody could believe this fucking band's debut went to #1. It was like, how is this even possible? Okay, the market is completely fucked. I don't know what's going on. I'm throwing my hands up. And this is like major industry people just being like, we're fucking clueless. So, and this is the other theme I didn't talk about at the top. We're going to trust artists more than we trust ourselves. And this eventually leads to U2 getting this like perverse record deal where U2 gets something like $2 an album. It's something insane. It's like the most disgusting record deal any fucking band has ever gotten from a major label. Like, they're so rich. Oh my God. U2 just banked off of, again, the weakness in the record industry of not being able to predict trends at this time. And that goes right up until about 88-ish. And so, yeah, it's, hold on. It's a big change and there's a lot of breathing room. And that's what results in a record like Songs from the Big Chair. I mean, you don't have songwriters like this born every so often, because who can write like Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Head Over Heels, fucking shout. Like, it's crazy out of fucking control how strong the songwriting is on this record. I mean, look, you compare it to No Jacket Required. There's a ton of fucking filler on No Jacket Required. I mean, that stupid, awful, like a jazz song, I think, that starts side 2 or something. There's a couple of really bad ones. I should probably not go too ham on Songs from the Big Chair. But point being, literally everybody bought this record because it was either Everybody Wants to Rule the World or Head Over Heels or Shout. Because Shout rocked. That song fucking rocks. It fucking slams, dude. Crank that shit up. That drum machine is the same drum machine from, Cocteau Twins' Treasure and every other fucking record. I even forget which one it is. There's like 7 of them. There's the Pearl. Steve Morris from New Order tweeted out a bunch of good ones early. The Pearl Concussion was fucking awesome at this time. Everybody thinks it's just the Lindrum. There's like 9 fucking drum machines at this time. The Lindrum is like way early in the mix because it only does a couple of things, and by the time a couple of bands had used it, it's fucking washed out. You can't use it anymore. Drumulator, is that the one that was on Treasure? Because it's the same one that's on this, and New Order used it at one point. The first band really to get sophisticated about layering the electronic sounds is Pet Shop Boys. Everybody else is just like play, and it's so recognizable. It's that same snare sound. It's fucking painful. Emo Drumulator, thank you. And that's just like the Prophet, the emulator Prophet, which is the string sound that's on, There's a Light and what the fuck? Boy with a Thorn is side. No, not Boy with a Thorn. What the fuck am I thinking about? There's a Light that never goes out, and is it Big Mouth that has it? Anyway, the emulator Prophet is everywhere. It's just like the DX7 was everywhere 2 years before this. This is the real like pinnacle late 83 to 87 George Michael Faith. It's all being done with the same devices, and so now it's like, well, we got to make sure it doesn't sound exactly like everything else. Yeah. Thanks. Is it the Drumulator? Can somebody look it up? Anyway, so, and then another record that I think is actually surprisingly not fucking bad. Sting's Dream of the Blue Turtles. Come on, give it up for Sting. There's some good shit on this fucking record. And it's not all jazz bullshit. Everybody gives him shit because of that awful live bullshit he did with one of the most technically proficient backing bands ever. But yes, essentially a fusion jazz combo. Sting doesn't slap, he stings. That double live thing he did was really fucking big. Nothing Like the Sun's fucking awesome. I love Be Still My Beating Heart and a lot of shit on that. I mean, I used to rewind and play the big drum break in Englishman in New York, like fucking crank that shit because I was a wannabe drummer. Yes, I know. It was on Treasure. Guys, stop with the fucking Drumulator jokes. But yeah, Dream of the Blue Turtles has some great shit. Love Is the Seventh Wave is on that, right? And there's big hits. But unfortunately, it has Russians, which is one of the fucking hoariest, awful fucking self-serious goddamn ballads ever. God, that song is such shit. Russians is absolute garbage, irredeemable trash. But I will say Dream of the Blue Turtles has some good, like, I didn't talk about Don Henley's comeback. I didn't talk about Dirty Laundry and All She Wants to Do Is Dance and Boys of Summer. These are fucking great songs. Don Henley pivoted to this way before anybody, and he did a great fucking job. I love those records. I still think the song, and this is, again, I'm mentioning a music supervisor thing, the song Sunset Grill by Don Henley, that's the 80s. Forget any other fucking cue. You take Sunset Grill by Don Henley and put that in any fucking show that's 80s retro, and it's just like, boom, it's perfection. So I called that out. I've mentioned it to a couple people who are music supervisor, and I was like, you fucking nail that shit. Give me a finder's fee. Come on. Because, I mean, I dabbled in this for like 8 months, and I was like, oh my God, this is like, again, 4 kids. can't do what I want for a living. Got to do what can pay for those 4 kids. But yeah, Sunset Grill, man, go listen to that now or after the stream. The song is so deep, rich, and it feeds into another record that's about to slam into the #1 spot, which is Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. Because So Far Away, the guitar work on So Far Away, no one's touched it. I don't know what the fuck they put on this guitar, but I think you have a sympathetic phaser. It might be a Touchwa, the Boss TW1, which is like one of my favorite pedals, which I contend Robert Smith used on Kiss, the Kiss from Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. But yeah, man, Brothers in Arms, the unfortunate use of the F word, the homophobic slur in the anti-MTV song, this revolutionary fucking video. It's the first video that has full CGI rendering. I mean, it's just such a landmark. It's beautiful too. Like the pink and blue color scheme and that iconic shot of the, it's not Rickenbach. What the fuck? Is it a Gretsch? I mean, it's just, and it is such a massive dad rock record because the fidelity, the sound quality on Brothers in Arms, like if you put that on a good sound system, it's nuts. Like the separation on the drums and even like the tambourines is just like bang right in your ear. But yeah, if you listen to So Far Away by Dire Straits, I've slam texted people after a few beers my whole fucking music critic life. I'll just be like, explain this to me. You can't do it. Okay, it's not a guitar. It's a Ned synthesizer through a synclavier triggered by a controller guitar. Okay. But I mean, you know, you could get it with probably like a PS5 and some Boss shit and a compressor and a gate. Loveless for Dads. That's great. There's a really horrible song on this though, isn't there? Because I remember this record when I was a kid. The Man's Too Big, The Man's Too Strong. Sounds like fucking Midnight Oil. That song blows. I remember this record. I mean, this is when I started buying tapes and hanging out with my best friend. Yeah, the PS5 isn't out yet in 85, but it's out now. I'm saying you could recreate this. You don't need a goddamn whatever this special synthesizer they use. You don't need, you know, the Edge's fucking original, you know, giant, the only person who had this effects rack, you know, table for his, I mean, you could recreate these sounds is my point today. Gonna recreate So Far Away in Dreams on PS4. Do it. It's a National O resonator on the cover. Okay, good. So I'm gonna go get that. Money for Nothing's fucking great. Whatever, man. I mean, look, I don't fucking litigate the past. I don't give a shit if people were backward in their thinking or arrogant or narcissistic or, you know, even if they were racist. Fucking, I'm sure they've probably grown up since then. I mean, I'm not listening to it because I'm stoked about that. It's a good song. I mean, listen to the fucking song White Minority by Black Flag. Listen to Guilty of Being White by Minor Threat. How do these guys resolve this shit? I was 18. I mean, what the fuck? Just let it. I don't know. Not going there. Bryan Adams, Reckless. More Bryan Adams. Better You Are. And then this is when Billy Joel does his Greatest Hits Volume 1, 2, which it doesn't show up hugely on the charts, but God, that became bedrock immediately. And so again, I mentioned it earlier. Here we go. After Brothers in Arms, boom, the Miami Vice soundtrack. Jesus Christ. This shit. Michael Mann clocked the fucking 80s. He put the fucking mirror right up to the 80s while it was happening. And he was like, here you go. He nailed it so perfect. It's crazy. And I love that in the pilot, they're driving a white convertible Ferrari Daytona. There's no fucking way that shit was real. That is guarantee a saw-off. Because A, it's white, which fucking makes no sense. I mean, and also they only made like, what, 62 convertible Daytonas? Is Summer of Megadeth on here? Where's my car people at? But anyway, there's no fucking way that's a real convertible Daytona. I mean, even then, before the supercar market for vintage supercars was crazy, Daytonas were off the fucking chart, like nuts. Anyway, we get Whitney Houston's debut, and it does very well because Arista blows all the rest of their money promoting her. That doesn't work out so well for them. And then we get Rain on the Scarecrow, baby. Now we're officially John Cougar Mellencamp, and we're talking Farm Aid, folks. We're talking Willie Nelson, John Cougar, and Farm Aid, because the common man in America, He's not getting the attention he needs. We need bailouts from the federal government. This affected my family. I'm not being a smartass. I had family who were farmers in Indiana when this shit went down. It was fucking real. The heartland was a real thing. At this time, we don't have hydroponic farming and fucking, drones and Internet of Things telling when to squirt water to optimize, and we haven't changed over everything to just be soybeans yet. Like, there's massive old school farming going on the way it had for decades up to this point. And unfortunately, modernity, the rush of technology and optimization is crushing these people who have like really upside down loans with banks. And it was a real thing, is my point. It was not a fucking stunt. And I think that's almost why it didn't do as well as like pure pop bullshit. Which is not to suggest, which is not to suggest that the things that motivated USA for Africa were illegitimate. I'm just saying Farm Aid did not have anywhere near the popular echo than even like, the US Festival, that bullshit that Woz did. Right? It was Wozniak did that. Anyway, yeah, it was a big deal. I just think it was a misplaced sort of valor, because it failed to sort of distill the issues in a way where it made sense to do it this way. But Small Town, man, one of the best drummers ever. And the production of the snare stomp Don Gaiman gets in the breakdown of Small Town, it's just like, holy shit, how many tracks of fucking Room Wash does he have on that fucking snare? That shit is ridiculous. So good. Oh my God, Small Town, I am banging that the second we get done. Love that shit. So that's sort of that's the big, heavy US tone. And in terms of things like, songs from The Big Chair, you're going to see that continuity for sure in the UK when we get there. So let's just blow through. Yeah, I know. I talked about it in the REM podcast. That came up in the Chord today. The REM podcasts I did, which are on Spotify, with my friend Elliot, who I went to college with, and Matthew Perpetua, are probably the two best. Certainly, like, if there are 10 or 15 really good podcasts I did, those two episodes are way up there. I definitely recommend you check them out, because two really strong subject matter experts and me just assing off about REM. And I make a big deal about the fact that Don Gaiman produced Life's Rich Pageant. Like, it was this huge deal that, a major John Cougar Mellencamp producer would work with REM, this delicate, sensitive, independent band. Oh my God, it's funny. And Elliot totally busts my ass on it. It's great. The guitar riff, everything about Small Town is dope. Come on. But that record suffers badly from that kind of, Indiana. It's like, dude, come on. I have no idea about John Cougar Mellencamp. Yeah, talking about something that would never cross over. It's like Ultravox and John Cougar Mellencamp. Neither the two shall meet, like Toya Wilcox and John Cougar Mellencamp. That's not getting over there. I do think his first single, though, did okay in England. Either the one that Not Hurt So Good before that. Anyway, whatever. I come up with plot twists with music writing. It was funny hearing someone call you out on it. So 85, Duran officially becomes a singles band from here on out, and you get Wow Boys, the most appalling excess probably of the 80s, the Duran Duran arena film. I talked about this in the Big Thing video. It's on YouTube. Go look up my two Big Thing videos about Duran Duran's Big Thing. I tweeted about it today. I tagged them for Tim's listening party. In 85, they are so bloated and successful. They are on the tail end of finishing what was intended to be like a Mad Max type movie called Arena. It had an accompanying board game, as you would in the mid 80s. Man, God, they had trading cards too, I think. another thing is I think Garbage Pail Kids are coming soon, right? Wild Boys sucks. It's a piece of shit. It's a really fucking shitty song that sucks, and I don't care about it. You also have, oddly, Sea of Love by Honey Drippers in that kind of like come dancing Kinks way. Honey Drippers Sea of Love becomes like a big fucking, like, oh my God, we have to fucking stream Arena. There's no way you can get it. I'll buy it and rip it. I never thought to buy that. When I got Kiss Across the Ocean, I never thought to get Arena. Having fucking talked about it like so much in those videos. God, I'll go buy it tonight, Joe, when we're done. We gotta fucking stream that. So yeah, Cool It Now starts in the top 10. We Belong, Pat Benatar's still in there. Run to You. We talk about Reckless. Run to You, Bryan Adams. Oh, that song's so good that Lou Barlow covered it. If you don't know that Lou Barlow as Centrado covered Run to You by Bryan Adams, that's how much that song was burned in people's brains, even if they thought they were too cool for school. Run to You is kind of like almost like it's almost like Don't Fear the Reaper of the 80s in that way. It's just so View to a Kill though. Yeah, no, I don't front on View to a Kill. That song is so good. Oh, the video, not so good. But yeah, View to a Kill as a song. Woo! I mean, what else? So we got the big, we got a lot of stuff that's still going on. But Easy Lover, Philip Bailey and Phil Collins comes up. And there's been a lot of like really honest re-examination of what was going on here. And Phil Collins is basically like, look, this guy wasn't getting on the charts. Pure racism. This guy was not going to get on the charts. The title of his album, which you can go look up, raises some questions about the racial concerns that we should have had for Philip Bailey. It's called Chinese Walls. Oh, boy. We are the 80s. So Shaka Khan, we talked about over these because it goes 1, 2. I Feel For You is a monster, still going. And then Macca, No More Lonely Nights. It's not a bad ballad. I mean, a ballad's a ballad. No More Lonely Nights isn't bad. Come on. Come on, give it to him. And Boys of Summer. See, I already went on my Dawn trip. I mean, I really think Dawn, of anybody who was coming out, I mean, Jesus Christ, Like a Rock is not a great, modern transition. I think Don Henley crushed it for 2 records almost. I mean, the first one was terrible. The first record with the square and the new wave look, oh God, you had nothing on that. But then, you get, like I said, you get All She Wants to Do Is Dance, and then you get Dirty Laundry, and you get, you get some good hits. And I rep for all that stuff. That stuff was big for me. I loved it. And Cindy now transitions into All Through the Night. All Through the Night, like whatever anybody who feels an emotional connection with True Colors, no, for me that's All Through the Night. All Through the Night's always been my Cyndi Lauper song. And if I listen to it, Like a Rock is it's a mid 80s Ford commercial. It's GMC, I think. Chevy is Like a Rock. I forgot that, being a car guy. All Through the Night is the one. I mean, it's not too adventurous or squonky with the synth stuff. It really feels sort of like a dusk kind of evening twinkling thing. It's not gross, and it's such an original tempo, that thrust and chug of the chorus. Forward all through the night. I mean, one gives me chills every time. I've had it on mixtapes like my whole life. I Would Die For You crashes in at this point. I Would Die For You, You Got the Look, Let's Go Crazy, Alphabet Street. Those are all like in my top 5 for Prince. I'm not like a deep cuts Prince guy. I mean, I guess maybe Alphabet Street's a deep cut because nobody gives a shit about that record, but I love that song. I love how the drop between the kick and the snare, there's like a fucking vacuum. It's just like, it's so fucking sharp. Love that. Great production. But in terms of weird shit, Remy Jackson's Centipede, number 24. No, I hated Arcadia. I talk about it in the video. Go watch the YouTube videos. And I talked about how 10 Years by the John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. So after the huge success of Love Sexy is underrated. It's great. The huge success of Eddie and the Cruisers means that everybody stops making fun of John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band as like a bad Bruce ripoff, and they get a deal. And Tender Years gets re-released. I don't think it was net new at this point. And it's pretty good. And they also had CITY and and the bigger hit, which was Tough All Over. But yeah, there's, now we get the worst song Daryl Hall and John Oates ever released, Method of Modern Love. I goofed on it earlier. It is fucking shockingly bad. It's just one of the worst songs. I can't even, oh my God. Weird stuff. I mean, again, you drop out of the top 20 and it's like, it's so weird. There's so much weird shit nobody remembers. Midnight Stars Operator. I mean, like what? But some weird things that got bigger than maybe you remember. Like General Public's Tenderness is top 30 in the US. That's really surprisingly big. Careless Whisper blows up here again late. I mean, what are some other like really songs that you just don't oh yeah, and then Glenn, we were talking about Dawn. Glenn Fry's The Heat Is On. The Heat Is On was on the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. It was really, really big hit. If I'm not mistaken. I don't think I am. U2 Get In There, sorta. Pride in the Name of Love gets to, where does it? I think it tops out at like 44. But crazy, weird stuff. It's just after 83, it's so sticky. Everything is so sticky. And then they start doing the new bullets. And so this is, Voices Gary is this year. It's so weird because they're having trouble breaking novel artists. There's this battle that occurs between catalog artists that are getting money put behind them and new artists that have fans calling radio stations being like, stop fucking playing this corny shit. Play, whatever it is, Wham, who knows? So this starts to get really fucking crazy when SoundScan comes in, and we'll get to it in the 90s. But I think Julian Lennon was last year, but we talked about that. Much Too Late for Goodbyes. That was a big, massive, real hit, and it's a good song. Fuck it. I mean, if anything McCartney did in the 80s is okay, certainly Much Too Late for Goodbyes is fine. But yeah, I think largely this is when the new thing starts, and the Billboard charts, like they've done new entries. When did it start? It started in the 80s at some point, but like they changed the way it was printed, because like back when, like if you go all the way back in the early 80s, it's just like there's like a star and a line and this and that, and it's like, what does all this shit mean? Because they're trying to communicate way too much information. Like how many records it sold, when did it come on the chart, how many weeks has it been on the chart, all these stupid fucking sales metrics that nobody gives a shit about. By 85, they changed the physical appearance of this so that this is how they actually looked. You see that big black bar? It says new. Well, it's a lot easier to start calling this out. And so, not that everybody bought Billboard, but it really does make a change, because this didn't start until, I think it's this year. Yeah, it's 85. They changed the formatting, visual formatting. So that, I mean, this sounds crazy. I wrote a huge article, Martin. You need to go check it out. Just Google like Shallow Rewards, Def Leppard. It's the biggest article I've ever written. And it's about how SoundScan changed everything. It's like 7,000 words or something. It's fucking ridiculous, but Google it up. It's on Substack too. But anyway, just the improvement graphically, it's sort of like UI in a computer, you know what I mean, user interface. The Billboard charts laying out, okay, well, here's the last week column, here's 2 weeks ago, here's how many weeks it's been on the charts. Okay, and if it's new, this, that. It made a big difference. I mean, I don't want to belabor the point, but it was pretty crazy. Yeah, now we get into Commodore's Night Shift. Yes, it's coming up, and it was new in January of 85. Wonderful fucking single, man. So original. And, to give BJ his credit, Keeping the Faith was one of Billy Joel's more original songs. Like, he has some fun. He's capable of having fun. Let's say Keeping the Faith proves. I mean, is it cornball bullshit? Yes, it's by Billy Joel. But I give him credit for it. Ashford and Simpson, solid. Whew. Oh, yeah, and you mentioned Julian Lennon. You probably mentioned it because Velotte starts to chart here in early 85. No, that's not a song I remember real well. But yeah, man, oh my God, the low stuff is so grim. Just weird shit. things still charting. Like Alphaville's Big in Japan hits 92. It's so weird. But yeah, this is where we officially see the very first appearance in January of '85 of Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Two Tribes at number 99. Two Tribes, I don't believe it did big stuff here, but Kenny Rogers Crazy starts to storm up the charts. Come on, Kenny. And weirdly, this is when people, I don't know. I don't want to speak for Bowie fans, but this is not America. Bowie's collaboration, because, obviously Under Pressure was so massive. Bowie collaborates, I've always found it strange, with the Pat Metheny group, and does This Is Not America, which, I don't think it gets that big, but there's weird songs from artists. So now you've got established new artists like Pat Benatar, and you have weird shit like what's it called? Ooh Baby? No, the Ooh song. No, just Ooh song by Pat Benatar. And just sort of like strange, like Journey's Only the Young. Like there's a big distinction between young and old music, and it starts to become naked here, like really embarrassing. Yeah, that song is so bad, and people forget that Bowie did it. But he's thinking of the tradition of the duets and all those things, and he knows that like the Serious Moonlight tour has ended. It's been over for a year. Oh man, big hit, fucking Neutron Dance, Pointer Sisters. This song was massive. That's another one. But this is the reign of I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner, which we talked about. And at the same time, Chicago's You're the Inspiration. And I don't want to repeat myself, but I think I said like the exhaustion of these twinkly, gentle AM gold ballads at the same time is like so much fresh innovative rock, is just, it's such a bad dichotomy. It's so clear that there's old and new, it's almost like, I don't know what I can express that for, but yeah, Neutron Dance was Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack, correct. Yeah, weird shit like that people don't remember, that did well. Like Ray Parker Jr. had a solid hit with Jamie, off his Echo, and but these aren't songs that are remembered, right? I don't think, I would say. I mean, I don't know that Jermaine Jackson's Do What You Do comes up a lot when we talk about the 80s. But then, Two Tribes sort of is like, that's not the one. Okay, turn it over, relax. And now Relax starts to really storm the charts. And you got I Would Die For You, Like a Virgin, Madonna, Relax. This, now you're starting to talk about the stuff that kids and teenagers were actually listening to. And that distinction, you can just watch it. If you flip through these charts, you see the downward pressure on the old. And this is also when David Lee Roth decides he's going to do his solo record. It's not, I don't think it's Diamond Dave yet, is it? Did he do that on the first one? The EP? Oh, so bad. California Girls. Oh. I mean, look, David Lee Roth just does not come from anywhere near the place that the Van Halens did. Yeah, I Would Die For You is just like the reverb slap. I'm not your fan. Like that kills me. What a brilliant choice. He amplifies the reverb louder than the original track. People don't do that. I mean, yeah, George Martin probably did it with John Lennon. Sure. Spring reverb, slapback reverb is a common thing, but the way that there's almost like a too big of a delay on the vocals in I Would Die For You, it creates this like swimming. It's like not pop music. It's really fucking, yes, it is a Boot Boys poster. I had a different one up in the last video. Go check it out. That's a woodcut I made in 6th grade. And this is a painting that a famous Broadway set designer did that I went to college with, of Spider-Man and a nun. That's all I'm going to tell you about that one. Yeah, so anyway, let's get back. Weird shit like Toto's got Holy Anna, Greg Kinn's got Lucky, just songs that are dead. Oh, The Firm, fuck, Radioactive comes out at this time. This is some bad stuff. So my favorite bit that Sharpling and Worcester ever did wasn't a Sharpling and Worcester bit. It was Andrew Earls. He did a joke, and I uploaded it to this channel. It's publicly available. It's called like I think I called it Best Show Top 500. Anyway, Andrew Earls had this bit, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it's so fucking good, and it's great because he's funny. Sharpling's just kind of on the line for it, you know. He's letting him do his bit, which is what he should have done because he had a much better developed bit, and he ran with it. And it's probably my favorite thing they ever did. I wish they could have worked together more. But yeah, Google that up. Best Show Top 500. I listened to that a lot. Anything else interesting? We're not going fast enough. I gotta speed this up. One More Night. Yeah, so I talked about the ballads. Now we've been through Chicago and we've been through Foreigner, and it won't stop because now we got Careless Whisper, Can't Fight This Feeling by REO Speedwagon, and there's another one that's coming up at this time. Oh God, what was it? I was just going to call it One More Night, Phil Collins. One More Night has got to be the most saccharine, valueless, neutral. I don't even, like, what's the intended environment in which you would listen to One More Night? Oh, it hurts me. And I'm a Phil fan. One of my favorite raw ass songs of the 80s, I'm on Fire by Bruce Springsteen, comes in. And we talked in the last one about how there's that year late drop. Small Town Boy, 49. Does it go up from there? I don't know if it does. It doesn't seem like Small Town Boy does get past that point. But Boys of Summer comes in. All She Wants to Do Is Dance is in there. You know, Don's out doing his thing. Patti LaBelle's New Attitude. That was major. That was a major, major stonker. And we talk about one-hit wonders. Murray Head's One Night in Bangkok. We talked about Taco putting on the Ritz. Now we're talking about One Night in Bangkok making a hard man humble. You're talking. That's some grim exotica. I don't think that's appropriate. Oh fuck! You fucking are gonna drop Obsession by Animotion on me. God damn, that is a fucking jam. Woo! Chess is a good musical. You're asking the wrong guy. Don't know much about musicals or which ones are good. Now I'm just gonna have Obsession by Animotion stuck in my head the whole rest of this fucking thing, and I'm only in March. Here's another one you can look up. Guarantee most Americans have never heard this, but it did appear on our charts. Rainforest by Paul Hardcastle. Rainforest by Paul Hardcastle. Look that one up. Also, this, again, we talk about the UK division. We Close Our Eyes by Go West. It showed up on the US charts. What's up? This is so weird. And now we get the Breakfast Club. So now we're like solidifying, hey guys, we're in the middle of a generation gap. Let's, Nirvana, whatever. The Breakfast Club solidifies that we're teens and we're different. And Simple Minds this is an infamous story, and I've probably told it like 7 times. I think, honest to God, I think David Bowie was offered Don't You Forget About Me, but like it wasn't even passed to him. Then Brian Ferry gets offered it. He literally turns it down. Then Billy Idol gets offered it, and he turns it down. Both of them regret this so much that they later record versions of Don't You Forget About Me and put it on like hits compilations. So because these artists are either so fucked up on drugs, full of shit, or not clued into what's going on in pop culture, they pass on probably the definitive, like, depressed, alienated teen anthem to this point of the decade. Don't You Forget About Me is still I still get chills when I hear it. I can't lie. I was like 10 when this came out. I used to sneak into my sister's room on her Techniques turntable and put it on. And the synths and the wash and the production is so good. And just the message of like, you know, teenage childish alienation and longing and like, you know, you like some girl, you have a crush on some guy, or you have a crush on some girl, or whatever it is, like just the out of placeness and the frustration, the lack of anybody taking your, you know, youthful angst seriously only compounds it. You know, I'm not feeling that at 10, but you know, it's a song that really dramatically fucking resonates with so many people, and the infusion of the dramatic sweep of that movie, which is a legitimately good movie. You know, Molly Ringwald's talked about how awkward it is to watch some of this sort of like sexualized content in that film. It's a different world. Again, we're in a different world. I look like fucking Alvin Stardust. Are you guys kidding me with this fucking haircut and shaving? I'm that old. I look like Alvin Stardust, but fat. You know, Breakfast Club is a really significant moment because they're swearing and it's harsh and it's like, it's not fucking a kid movie. I mentioned the freeze at the top. Yeah. When I talked about why I'm not going to talk about indie at this point. I mean, I watched The Breakfast Club probably 175 fucking times. I can recite the entire movie. Lots of kids in my age group. This was like an unattainable level of raw and real. You know what I mean? Because I'm only like 10, 11. Like, when you get to be like 13, 14, The Breakfast Club is like your training manual. And like, there's no fucking question. I thought Judd Nelson's character was the fucking coolest thing in the world when I was 13. You fucking kidding me? I totally want to fucking be that guy. What a fucking badass. You know, anyway, it was a big, big moment. And I guess I mention it so strongly because it's a legitimate, emotionally legitimate film where I think something like Pretty in Pink is fucking garbage, and like Hiding Out with John Cryer, like there was so much. I just and 16 Candles is the biggest fucking piece of shit. Just so fucking awful bullshit 80s racist trash. I mean, 16 Candles is not far enough from Porky's for me to give a shit about it. I guess I'm saying all this because so many of those movies that get held up, the ones to me that are legit are Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Some Kind of Wonderful. I don't think there's anything else I'm missing there. I think the rest of the teen 80s movies are fucking trash, including John Hughes' movies. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is awesome, but that's not a teen movie. Am I pro or anti her makeover at the end? Anti. I'm against it. I'm against it. I would have rather had her get Molly Ringwald into Sisters of Mercy. Anyway, and Say Anything, yes, of course, but that's Cameron Crowe, and it's a different. Say Anything starts a completely different track. That's not a teen movie. That's a real movie. Not to be hagiographic or melodramatic about it, but Say Anything is a really, really real movie. Anyway, yeah, I'd rather. I mean, watching her eat Captain Crunch sandwiches with pixie sticks in a giant black sweater, like the one I used to wear when I was in high school. I'm all over that shit. Her family, don't go there. Go look up her family. Go look up her sister. It's grim. It's very dark. All right, we're trapped in March and it's an hour. I got to get going. Alison Moyet, Invisible, again, talking about interplay. Who doesn't know what The Breakfast Club is? An American teen drama film made in released in late 1984, I believe, that had a very, very popular soundtrack of original material, including Wang Chung, Simple Minds, and it was directed by John Hughes. It's a movie about a group of teenagers who have to go to detention for an entire Saturday for various transgressions they've caused at their high school, and it's about the breaking down of social castes in kind of a wealthy town that has a couple of characters that are clearly from the other side of the tracks. It's just an arch American story. BOOHOO. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe? Yeah, don't even. I got it all. I mean, everybody does my age. Jesus Christ. So Axel F starts to chart here, the third single from Beverly Hills Cop. Ashford and Simpson will not get off the fucking charts was solid. Will you just go listen to this? I don't even remember this fucking song. It's everywhere. Kool and the Gang's Fresh bangs in here. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody Wants to Rule the World comes up. I mentioned Go West. Spring is 85 is not great. Madonna's Crazy for You. This song, it's fucking trash. I don't know. Crazy for You. For people who grew up at this time and were like 13 and 85. I don't want to be gendery or sexist, but I mean, don't think a lot of dudes were rocking Crazy for You. Just gonna say that. But at this point, she's got Material Girl and Crazy for You in the top 5. That's fucking nuts. Because massive misogyny still. I mean, I could say the same thing in 1995. Total fuck. I mean, but Madonna becomes celebrated because she embraces all of these sexualized qualities. I mean, she's fighting it. She's not an idiot. She's an arch careerist. She's not stupid. But she is, want to use her wiles to fuck everybody else. I'm gonna fucking fine. You want to see that shit? Fine. I'll roll around in a fucking dress and do like a virgin, all that shit. Fuck you. I'll come around with real shit on the other side of this and have so much fame and juice that I'm gonna force MTV to show me making out with a black Jesus like 4 years later. That is fucking boss shit. Okay? So you need, as much as I'm talking shit about Madonna's early material and like she couldn't sing and this and that, Like a Prayer was astonishing. Like that shit fucked America up. And she had enough juice to make it happen. You gotta fucking give her due. Anyway, Murray Head, Jesus Christ, he gets to the top 10. That kills me. Murray Head's One Night in Bangkok is top 10. Anything else to call out? I think I already mentioned New Attitude by Patti LaBelle. That was big shit. May. See, the thing is, it's actually easier to flip through this because it's, like I said, it's so samey. Curtis Blow's Basketball, Hot 100. That bangs in. Representing for hip hop, breaking through in the popular consciousness. Duran Duran's Save a Prayer. That the slog of Save a Prayer. Hey, smoke up, Johnny. Oh God. Do I stutter? So this is an interesting, you fucking totally sidetracked me. I can't look at when you guys are chatting at me. Voices Carry by Till Tuesday starts its growth. Okay, so I was going to say, the slog of trying to push Save a Prayer into the charts because it's such a fucking tedious ballad. It just takes forever. And then instantaneously, the Power Station blasts into the fucking top 10. And this is Some Like It Hot, which I, again, watched the Big Thing videos that I did about Duran Duran. And this is also where finally we can give due to Animotion's Obsession. God damn, that song fucking crushes. Animotion's Obsession is Lip Sync's Funky Town 5 years later. Like, it's such a fucking amazing dance floor magnet. Like, people just, like, it's almost like a fucking mosh pit to get out there when you hear Obsession. That song is, it just... Who do you want me to be? Oh my God, it's so good. Such a fucking great hit single. And then, I mean, nothing after that. Nada. First chart appearance of Bon Jovi is in 85 with Only Lonely. Yeah, we're going to probably get to Casey and the Sunshine Band, Walking on Sunshine. Arthur Baker, not that Arthur Baker. And then we get the trade-off, like 1, 2, 3 for like a month and a half. It's Don't You Forget About Me, Crazy for You, and what's the other one? Oh, Rhythm of the Night by DeBarge. And feel the rhythm of the night. Oh God, that was big. But in a way, like Rhythm of the Night it's a great song and everything. But I talked before in the last one we talked about Lionel Richie and All Night Long. Like you start to get that urban thing, and it becomes like Lisa and all that shit. But it's doing well. I mean, The Time has 2 hits too, but they don't get like top 50. They have The Bird and what's the other one that was Jungle Love was this year. those did good. And then I mentioned him way earlier, but this is where Howard Jones on his fucking debut album crushes, comes out with Things Can Only Get Better. And then Things Can Only Get Better. And there's 2 top 10 hits in this year on his debut, which is, they weren't able to do this before. And again, like the modern, well, I don't know if they gave a shit about his hair. If you've never seen Howard Jones, Google Howard Jones 1985. Also Google Amy Mann 1985 for Voices Gary, because that's a look. And Coming Up Close, I think it's 86 when they get their second single with Coming Up Close. That's not bad. That's a great fucking ballad. Terrible video though. Oh, and Glenn Frey had another one. Glenn Frey, Smuggler's Blues. Survivor, The Search Is Over, You Were With Me. Oh, again, the balladeering, it just doesn't stop. Do I hate Robert Palmer? No, man. Fucking Oliver Reed. Fucking Swansea. What's up? Represent. Wales, man. I don't hate Welsh people. They can do whatever they want. Robert Palmer. You talk about earning a fatal heart attack. Oliver Reed and Robert Palmer, 1 and 2. Man, they just stacked that deck. And Christ Jesus, I mean, we're in June here. I got an hour and 10 minutes. Fucking Psycho Candy is this year. Like, I don't even know what to. Walking on Sunshine, there you go, and that came in quick. And David Lee Roth's actual big hit, which California Girls didn't do much. Just a Gigolo, double A side with medley with I Ain't Got Nobody. That was big stuff. That did really well. And the Mary Jane Girls, In My House. Now that's a one-hit wonder you don't hear that often. But Southern Accents comes out. Don't Come Around Here No More with the video, the Alice in Wonderland video, Tom Petty. That was monstrously big. So, I mean, at this point in 85, MTV is dictating a lot of shit. FM radio started to get pissed because they're just coming over the top of them. And whatever's getting played on MTV, FM radio they get nothing but fucking calls for it. For, Don't Come Around Here No More. Which, I mean, it's a legitimately fantastic song. That song gives me chills too. That's another one of those ones, in almost every video I talk about a song that makes me remember being alive at this time. Don't Come Around Here No More is like definitely one of them. And Scritti Politi's Perfect Way, I fucking talk about that endlessly. I mean, it is a perfect song from this period. Oh, and I also tweeted this out, which is from 85. Nirvana. God, this record is so good. Big Neon Glitter for the win. Madonna's Angel. I mean, again. What else can we go through here? Where are we? We're in May. We're getting there. Oh, God. This was a fucking... I think this isn't John Fogerty's Center Field the video that's clips of baseball bloopers? Oh... Drop 19's cover of Angel. I know. I really doubt we're going to get to the Drop 19s. And then, somebody else called out that Duran redeemed themselves with psh, 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 View to a Kill. Absolute classic. And Would I Lie to You? I'm asking you, sugar, would I lie to you? God damn Annie Lennox's voice. That woman... God, when she was like howling, belting it at this point, she took everybody to the wall. And this is before like the popular understanding of shit like the Commitments and the love for black soul and R&B music in Ireland and in Scotland and shit. Like Annie Lennox's voice is just, she can take anybody to the fucking wall, just anybody. View to a Kill's not a terrible Bond film. Come on. Is it Timothy Dalton? I love Timothy Dalton. I think he's the best Bond ever. What else happened here? Glory Days. Dun, 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 dun. It's the most boring fucking song. Glory Days is, I don't know. I haven't really spent enough time with like late period Bruce to to really shit on properly his worst stuff, but I don't know if he ever could have tanked out worse than Glory Days. God damn, I hate that song. That song is literally just like, fuck it, man, fuck it, fucking bullshit, bar singing, bar beer, fucking whatever you hip, Glory Days. It's such a fucking lazy song. Oh. I already talked about propaganda. Again, tweet at Bruce Levenstein. He's the propaganda man. So DM hits it. 51, and then do they get in there? 42 people are people. To me, I don't know how something like People Are People gets to 32. How much further does it go? 22. Voices Carries in top 10 at this point. Would I Lie to You actually goes 5. I don't know if it goes higher. And then Raspberry Beret, I talked about Around the World in a Day. Huge. Big shit. God damn, that song, though. People Are People, 17. How does that happen in 85? Like, God, I don't remember hearing it. I mean, obviously people did. It went to number 15 in the United States. But we talked earlier on the chord about Martin L. Gore's vocals on the chorus. They're so beautiful. I don't know, something about the reverb bed and the production of it, but that whole I can't understand what makes man hate man. I mean, I got, David God is like God, and the signature song for me is Stripped. The way when he says bone, and it's just like you can hear the rattling of bone and Stripped. God damn, it's good. But Martin Gore really carries People Are People to me. And here we go. 19, Paul Hardcastle. No, 19. God, we used to listen to this all the time. So by this point, the year after this, 86, is when this kid moves over here from England, becomes like my best friend, and he's got all the Now tapes with the pig on the cover. The Now, that's what I call music tapes. So almost immediately after this is when I go like full on Anglophile, and I'm getting like Art of Noise. He had Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise on vinyl, and I heard that in 86. And I was like 11 or 12, 11. And we just got obsessed with fucking music. Like, anyway. Aretha Franklin, big hit. We're Going Riding on the Freeway of Love. There's a really odd song. People don't remember much. DeBarge's follow-up to Rhythm of the Night. Who's Holding Donna Now? I don't remember that. I do remember Corey Hart's follow-up to Sunglasses at Night. Never Surrender! That's some... you should have given that one to John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Shout, Tears for Fears, cracks in here. And if you love somebody, set them free. Sting. This is... again, this is July, so you can see where you're getting like fun summer songs. And Money for Nothing comes out. Duran Duran starts storming up the charts. But, excuse me, this is the exact same time that People Are People is getting into the number 13. How does People Are People get to number 13? If it gets top 10, I'm going to lose my shit. Wow, that's crazy. People Are People, 13. At the same time as fucking St. Elmo's Fire. Oh, that song was so fucking impossible to avoid. St. Elmo's Fire, Summer of 69. Again, both Run to You and Summer of 69 are on Reckless. Summer of 69, total bedrock fucking 80s rock jam, mid-tempo rock jam. Got my first real string. Bled till my fingers bled. God, I love Bryan Adams, man. Fuck it. He's a good dude, man. He wrote some great fucking jams. Give it up for Bryan Adams. Keep giving it up for Bryan Adams. And then this is some dog shit, Billy Joel. You're Only Human. Cool in the Gangs. Cherish. Oh, this is awful shit. Oh, Bad Times. Bad Times. Life in One Day was a moderate hit. It wasn't the other big one, but Howard Jones he puked 3 solid singles across the pond. Good for him. Rat actually got up there with Lay It Down. Shit, I didn't realize that went in. When Your Heart Is Weak by Cock Robin. I'm gonna have to Google that one. Loose Ends, Hanging on a String. This shit doesn't even get on 80s comps. Oh yeah, Michael McDonald, No Looking Back. That's in here. And then finally, well, not finally, I don't know the chart times for it in England, but Godley and Cream's Cry. This is a unbelievable. This is like 4 years later, Michael Jackson rips off the video for Godley and Cream's Cry. It's an astonishing ballad. The vocal performance is just like, yeah, I know he rapped over Loose Ends. The vocal performance, Lil B rapped over the end. He took Loose Ends and looped it and did a whole rap over it. You Make Me Want to Cry. God, man. No, it's a little bit silly because, yes, they're repeating the 10cc I'm Not in Love, layer. It gets a little out of control. I do think they took it too far, critically. But for the first, 2-3 iterations, it's man, it's a great ballad. Summertime Girls by Y&T. And then the big ballad from Bryan Adams, Heaven. To believe we're in heaven. CITY, I mentioned earlier, John Cafferty, that starts to storm up here. We're getting into the fall. And oh my God. Forgot about it. That's 85. I thought I forgot to talk about it in 84, but Take On Me is actually the summer of 85. And so is Dead or Alive, Spin Me Around. And Hearts, What About Love? That was monster fucking. This is when we're getting the sort of framework of poodle ballad heavy metal. What About Love by Heart was a big, early notch on that. And it's ladies doing it. Bon Jovi ain't done shit. They didn't broke the top fucking 50. Motley Crue never fucking charted. Heart, number fucking 12 on the second week, I think. What About Love? That was big. And the Power Station second single, Get It On, Bang a Gong. Really shit fucking cover. Awful. Yeah. Nothing else jumping. So yeah, Smoking in the Boys' Room, which that doesn't count. This is just shitty fucking cover. Motley Crue, Smoking in the Boys' Room sucks. Who gives a shit about that? No, this was a grim ass fucking song that sucked so hard and was so oversaturated on MTV. We Don't Need Another Hero. The fucking theme song from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This shit sucks. Oh, and it was so fucking overplayed. I mean, ugh. Bryan Adams was 10 in the summer of 69. So what? I was 10 in the summer of 85. You got a problem with that? What's up? I could write a song about the summer of 85. Got my first real synth. Played it till my fingers didn't bleed because it's plastic keys. What else do we got? Pop Life. People, Pop Life is a big fucking hit for Prince. That goes to number 10, which, God, I mean, people today, when Matthew Perpetua did a thing about, top threes, he's trying to, discourse, whatever, during COVID and stuff. And I didn't see a lot of people mention Pop Life. It was a big fucking hit. Summer 69 is a good fucking song. Just deal with it. What kind of cool index do you have that you can't fucking slam Summer 69? Oh, Dress You Up. I mean, I don't know if Holiday and Dress You Up are some grim dog shit Madonna singles. Not a fan. But this is where Wham becomes a real band for me. Freedom and I'm Your Man, those two songs, they're legit soul, like Sam and Dave fucking hits. I don't give a shit that they're up until tonight I had George Michael hair. I mean, Freedom is such a fucking good song. I'm gonna dress you up in my love. I love your body. I hated that shit. I'm sorry. It's not for me. Another corny ass ballad, Every Time You Go Away by Paul Young. But yeah, I mean, Take On Me It's another one of those cases I mentioned earlier where it's just like FM radio is just like, will you fucking stop with this shit? Like, what is this bullshit? You know, some tinky dinky beep 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 boop 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 boop. Yeah, if people don't know, Bryan Adams is extremely Canadian. And then, you know, we close out the year with Money for Nothing, because Money for Nothing was released, like, I think in April and went to like 64, and then the video comes out. #1 for 1, 2, 3, almost a month. It's unbelievable how that happened. And Take on Me then replaces it. And we must not forget Oh Sheila by Ready for the World. That is one of the biggest flash in the pan, totally forgotten #1s ever. It spent 1 week at #1, I believe. Wow. And then the movie Stand By Me comes out, I believe, because, right? Is that 85 or 86? Because two weird things happen. You have Stand By Me starts charting again, and then the Club Nouveau thing happens around the same time. Take on Me is a great fucking emo song. It's like an early emo song. Because remember, Rites of Spring is 85, and so is Marginal Man. Like, we're not going to talk about this shit. American emo actually really starts this year. But Take on Me is an emo song too. So whatever. Stand By Me is 86. Okay, so I'm ahead of the curve. Sorry. There's a weird anomaly then, because late in 85, Maurice White's Stand By Me starts charting. And also Simple Minds gets the echo effect from Don't You Forget About Me, and Alive and Kickin' comes up the charts, which is not bad. Alive and Kickin's a good song. What you gonna do? Anyway. Oh man, I just love that. I love that Robert Smith is like his main hatred in life is not Morrissey; it's the lead singer of Simple Minds. And then, oh God, right at the end of the year, Whitney Houston's "Saving All My Love for You," her first big hit. That was fucking inescapable. Whew, man. So ABC gets a big hit in America actually with "Be Near Me." I got to fly through this because I do want to close up with "Take on Me" by Real Big Fish. Yeah, no, I'll take "Love Song" by 311, which is a legit fucking great cover. Part-Time Lover, Stevie Wonder. That's important to call out. Stevie Wonder had a really fucking successful 80s. He pivoted really strongly. I mean, I'm going off about how well Don Henley transitioned into the synth age. Stevie Wonder was all over that shit, but he was songwriting for fucking everybody too. He's already one of the most famous musicians of all time. But you know, it's not a surprise, but it's kind of cool in that way. The Thompson Twins' last big hit, I think, is "Lay Your Hands on Me," which, you know, does great. And then, oh my boys, doom 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 doom. Fucking Mr. This band, I was talking before about how major labels had to do catalog artists and shit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they did that. But I also talked about how they created Instamatic bullshit to imitate other bands. And the key thing everybody needed to figure out, in 1985 was how to fucking replace the Police. Because Sting has gone solo, they're done. Mr. gets signed. And you need to wear a fucking big overcoat with shoulder pads and do your hair like Sting. No problem. Broken Wings. So I think, if I recall correctly, the first time I heard the song Broken Wings by Mr. was in an episode of the Ricky Schroeder sitcom Silver Spoons. He has a crush on a girl. He goes up to his bedroom in his mansion because he plays a rich kid who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And he lays down on the bed emotionally, and they bring up Broken Wings by Mr. because she doesn't like him. And, you know, a lot of people remember that show. It's a really important show for a lot of people. It's also where Jason Bateman got his start as Derek the Dick. God, it was such a great show for little kids back then. They had a nice crossover with Different Strokes, where Ricky Schroeder and oh, that poor kid, Gary Coleman. I think he died, right? Him and Gary Coleman have like a video game. It was like the plot of the movie Cloak and Dagger. They like stole a government secret on a computer disk. It's fucking crazy. I'm sorry. Like, I remember so much weird shit. It's just burned in my mind because there's no other entertainment but sitcoms and shit like Growing Pains. I was in love with fucking Tracy Gold. Anyway. And Alfonso Ribeiro gets his start on Silver Spoons too. This is all American pop culture for old, like barely almost too young to be Gen X. I'm in such a weird void. But anyway, Broken Wings, Kyrie Eleison, Kyrie is called, which again is like a Catholic fucking chant. But you really, if you want to hear some of the best fucking vocal layering you have ever heard in your life, listen to Kyrie by Mr. Mister. The chorus of that song and the bass walk, dun, dun, it's a fucking astonishingly well sequenced, arranged piece of pop. It's amazing. Broken Wings has jack shit on Curie. But yeah, I wish Dinosaur Jr. did their cover of Just Like Heaven in front of Robert Smith. I mean, you know that Robert Smith was on the cover of The Enemy with Jay Mascis, right? He fucking loved it. Like, he did hear them play it. And when The Cure played in Boston in Mansfield in 1989, they changed the way they played Just Like Heaven in tribute to how much they loved Dinosaur Jr.'s cover of it. Pearl Thompson turned a huge fucking gain line in front of the guitar for the lead, and it's unmistakably different. I have a bootleg of it, and I used to tell people I was there, but I wasn't. My parents wouldn't let me go. I was too young. I was like turning 14 that summer. I was literally 13. No, I was like 2 weeks. I was 14 by 2 weeks when they played Great Woods in Mansfield. And my best friend got to go because he was almost a year older than me because I was the youngest kid in my grade. And he felt so bad for me, he gave me the ticket. And I bought bootlegs of it later, but I was not there. My first concert in my entire life was Sinead O'Connor at Great Woods on the I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got tour. Anyway, so yeah, year ends, Whitney Houston, big hit. Another duet, Phil Collins and Marilyn Martin's Separate Lives. That shit sucks. And someone else mentioned earlier, We Built This City by Starship, which it's basically Shake It Up by the Cars. Seriously, listen to We Built This City by Starship. It is fucking Shake It Up. And what else do we got? ZZ Top kind of ends their career sort of on Sleeping Bag. And then Say You, Say Me, again, ballad hell. The theme of the 80s is like ballad hell and cool teen shit. It's one or the other. Climax, I Miss You. Yeah, I sent the bootleg tape, the actual tape. Yeah, I sent it to you, Robert. I mailed it to you. Because, I have it digitized, and I have better copies that I've sourced from other people online of those two shows, September 22nd and 23rd, 1989. I remember that. Tonight She Comes, Cars. That was a legit hit. Give him that. And then Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time. So you end the year on Eddie Murphy's corny Rick James single, Party All the Time. Arcadia's Election Day, which is a fucking slog to get through. Alive and Kicking. John Cougar's Small Town, and Scritti Politi's Perfect Way. That's sort of how the year ends. And I talked about how, exemplars of 80s, whatever, Perfect Way by Scritti Politti, and also The Word Girl, too, from the same record, Cupid and Psych 85. Great fucking shit. They just were like one of those bands that had all this talent and access to studios and shit, and they made this one great fucking record, and then they just, I don't know what happened on the follow-up. It's so indescribably fucking bad. Scritti Politi's second album. So I'm going to quickly buzz through the distinction between the UK, and then I've been going off. I got to shut this down. What really is the big difference? You don't see in aggregate, the biggest song of 85 in England is Jennifer Rush's The Power of Love. What is that? And Madonna gets over a bunch. I think the biggest for her is Into the Groove. And can't remember if she had bigger ones, but Dancing in the Street is already big there. The thing Mick Jagger and Bowie did, that doesn't even get over. I don't think that gets over until 80s. There's no way it doesn't chart. I mean, Jesus, that was on MTV a fucking shitload. I remember it. But I guess the big thing that hits in the UK in 85 that doesn't hit as big, apart from Fertile Sharky and A Good Heart, is the duet with UB40 and Chrissie Hynde on I Got You Babe. It does chart in America, but that's massive in England. I mean, hearing Chrissie Hynde and UB40 in a pub doing I Got You Babe in 85, this is what we're talking about. I mean, that's a vibe. Most of the rest of the chart, though, is starting to become homogenous in a lot of ways. It's weird one-offs in the UK that don't go over here. Like Midge has If I Was, Marillion's Kaylee, that fucking record with the kid in the red jacket, the kind of like bad Georgian military jacket with the rainbow. The kid who moved here from England had that. And I was like, what is this? And I mean, I never forgot how much I was nonplussed that music could be as ineffectual and emotionless as Marillion. Anyway, what else? Oh, The Crowd, You'll Never Walk Alone. I don't think that did anything in America. Bonnie Tyler starts, I don't know if Holding Out for a Hero was on any of the charts here, but it was massive in England. It was big in America. I just don't know timing wise if that went over the same. What was another? Oh, King, Love and Pride. I'm pretty sure that's not here, but Alison Moyet is sort of bicoastal. You know, we talked about other bicoastal acts that did well, big, like Take on Me was huge. Weren't they Norwegian or Swedish or something? Dire Straits obviously is going to do well everywhere there because they're not from either. But like, the duet, Mark Allman and Bronski Beat doing I Feel Love blows the fuck up over there and is not really that big here. Or like Elton John's Nikita, his last hit for a long time. What was another? Oh God, Baltimore, Tarzan Boy. So that we start to get into zoom zoom diggy diggy zoom zoom. Like Baltimore gets over into the Sly Fox fucking cameo. Like there's this weird thing in 86 where like slick shit, like I mentioned Club Nouveau, like really slick fucking club hit shit starts to come through in mainstream pop. And Baltimore has, I mean, to their credit, Tarzan Boy is like a really good outlier early on of that shit. Yeah, but Lean on Me was massive. That was so big. And Frankie, Frankie is like I said, there's so much resistance to that. It just doesn't cross over. And again, I don't know that Something About You. I think Something About You charts in America the next year, but that's solidly a fucking big 85. And like similarly, The Cars Drive is big in 85 in England, where it was big in obviously in 84 in America. There's still so much delay, at least 6 months from a lot of this stuff, which is weird because some things happen at the same time. Like, Rhythm of the Night, DeBarge, that's big in England. But yeah, somebody asked about Kate Bush. Like, obviously she's a national treasure in the UK, and Running Up That Hill is huge. I don't think anything really broke for her in America until Working Girl in a popular way. Did people have the record? Sure. My sister didn't have it because she thought Kate Bush's voice was fucking terrifying. I asked her once. A few years ago, why she didn't have it, or what she thought about Kate Bush, and she was like, her voice gave me nightmares. I couldn't listen to her. It was like listening to a fucking ghost or a banshee. This is when she's in college. Actually, she starts college. Talking Heads, Road to Nowhere. So she told me they used to imitate this video in college. They would imitate the trophy at the end of the video that spins around. They'd put their hands behind their backs and spin around in circles while listening to Road to Nowhere. That song was so fucking big. In a way that, and Wildlife too. Oh my God. We got some wow. I still love Wildlife. Wildlife. I think it's a great single. But I think, Talking Heads realized they were not going to go through or get bigger or build on burning down the house in the way that they would have needed to do. Yeah, weird shit. Like Gambler charted in the UK for Madonna, did not in America. What's another weird one? All right, hold on, I'll go back in the. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm scrolling through the chart because, I mean, again, I'm only calling stuff I know. But like, you know, Close to the Edit charts big in England, and I mentioned in a bunch of these about my introduction to rap with Dougie Fresh, the show that actually charts an 85 in England. And this fucking thing, boom, She Sells Sanctuary shows up. And he's big on American college radio and late night, maybe MTV, because it had a very well produced video. But yeah, I mean, the distinctions are pretty massive. And She Was is so good. And that, again, like I said, it was, those are both, I mean, it's a good record. It just, they had so much friction always. They'd always had friction because, you know, it's like he's fucking going behind their back to work with Brian Eno, and then they're like, fuck you, and they go right to Tom Tom Club, and then they're like, this is better than what we're doing. Like Brian Eno and David Byrne are like, so we dicked them over to do this bullshit art fucking project that fucking sucks and is a total piece of shit and only critic douchebags are ever going to remember, called My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. And then the other two people in the band that I fucking ditched like an asshole are in a fucking rehearsal space writing one of the most important fucking post-disco songs ever written in Genius of Love. Way to fucking go, David Byrne and Brian Eno. My Life in the Bush of Ghosts is such a fucking sack of shit. It's such an irredeemable, indulgent fucking joke. Fuck anybody who ever told you to buy that record. I have apologized to anybody for the inability to control Pitchfork to stop them from fucking overpraising Remain in Light and that fucking horrible My Life in the Bush of Ghosts records. It's okay, guys. It's ponderous fucking art wank that sucks. Nobody gives a shit about it. Nobody's ever listened to it. You've been told you need to. Don't waste your fucking time. All right, peace. 85 out.